This is all the bids right here, right? And this is a resolution on the agenda somewhere here to take note of?
Down in the lab.
Somebody else have it? 7:03, I'd like to call the meeting to order. We have our Deputy Town Clerk, Lisa Wardoff, filling in for Barb McEwen, who is homesick with bronchitis. We wish her a speedy recovery. Would you call the order, please, Lisa?
Here.
Counselor Ridgway? Here. Counselor Smart? Here. Counselor Warner?
Here.
Supervisor Rose?
Here. Deputy, will you come forward?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, I did that out of order. Maybe call the roll now. Okay, first order of business is approval of the minutes. Resolution 95-67, moved at the public hearing and regular town board meeting March 9th, 1995, and the special town board meeting March 21st, 1995, having been distributed, be approved without reading. I'll move it.
Second.
Any additions or corrections from the board? Okay, Lisa, will you poll council?
Counselor Pierce?
Aye.
Counselor Ridgway?
Aye.
Counselor Smart?
Aye.
Counselor Warner?
Aye.
Supervisor Rose?
Aye. Okay. Next order of business is communications. First, I'd like to remind everybody that grievance day is May 23rd, and forms are available in the clerk's office if you wish to grieve your assessment. Friday, April 14th, the town clerk's office will be closed, which is tomorrow for Good Friday. You're right, I missed that one too. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm not following my agenda very well tonight here. Payment of bills, you're right, Jim.
I move the vouchers number 92-122 in the amount of $19,633.79 general fund, and vouchers number 60-94 in the amount of $18,098.46 highway fund, having been audited, be approved, and the supervisor be authorized to pay them from designated accounts.
I'll second.
Lisa, will you poll the council?
Counselor Pierce?
Aye.
Counselor Ridgway?
Aye.
Counselor Smart?
Aye.
Counselor Warner?
Aye.
Supervisor Rose?
Aye. Now communications. I received a letter this week from Russ Johnson, who's the legislator from the 6th Ward in the city of Fulton. And it was concerning the meeting we had here last week, the incinerator forum, and I'll read it to you. Dear Supervisor Rose, I want to thank you for the eye-opening discussion you hosted on Wednesday, April 5th regarding the county's energy recovery facility. Your guest, Dr. Paul Conant, appeared very knowledgeable on the complex issue of dioxin emissions. He was quite entertaining as well. You will be happy to know that I will be attempting to conduct independent exploratory research on the alternative methods of garbage disposal, particularly separation, as lectured by Dr. Conant. I am curious to determine if such a method is viable for Oswego County. During Dr. Conant's presentation, he mentioned a videotape named Waste Wise. This particular video defines the separation theory in detail according to Conant. Do you have this video, or do you know how to acquire it? I would be interested in reviewing this tape as soon as practical. I will be attending a 4-week training session in Watertown April 10th through May 5th. However, I will be available each weekend therein. If you can assist me in obtaining the above, I would greatly appreciate it. Once again, thank you for the opportunity to learn more about dioxin emissions from the county's energy recovery facility, and I look forward to hearing from you regarding the aforementioned video. Russ Johnson, 6th Ward legislator from the city of Fulton. Other correspondence we've received from Oswego County, they have a forum of their own going on, Oswego County Comprehensive Plan, and they have several meetings scheduled. April 18th at the Hastings Town Hall, one on infrastructure. April 25th at the Snow Memorial Building in Pulaski, Natural Resources and Environment. May 16th at West Monroe Town Hall, Community Facilities. May 25th at the Fulton Municipal Building, Historic and Cultural Resources, June 14th at the Schuylkill Town Hall, Transportation, and June 19th at the Volney Elementary School, Land Use and Community Design. And what the county is looking for is input from the public and anybody that cares to comment on these issues. And I think the one on April 25th in Pulaski, Natural Resources and the Environment, is one that probably Volney would be most concerned about. And I hope that maybe a lot of people from this town will attend that meeting. Let's see. Okay, that's all I have for correspondence.
How about the letter from the Boy Scouts? One from the Scouts, Howard.
Oh, I didn't get a copy of that. Okay. Okay, we have a letter here from Eagle Patrol Troop 761 to the Volney Town Board. As part of the requirements to earn the citizenship and the community merit badge for Boy Scouts, we need to learn more about our local government and to attend a local board meeting. This is a required badge to attain the rank of Eagle Scout. I have attached a copy of the requirements from the merit badge pamphlet. In order to make this a more meaningful experience for my patrol, I would like to request that we be allowed to shadow the Volney Town Board members at the May Town Board meeting so that we may have a bird's eye view of town government at work. We hope to make this a memorable experience for everyone. Sincerely, Brad Bennett, Eagle Patrol Leader. Yeah, Brad's mother mentioned this to me. This is the first I've seen it tonight. I don't know if she's going to be here tonight, but she said she might be here to explain it further. But what it is, I guess, is just getting them involved and letting them participate with us and standing up here or sitting up here with us and overseeing a meeting. They do this in the city of Fulton a lot. I've noticed they have pictures in the paper for that, and I think it's a good idea. I don't think anyone on the board has a problem with that, do they?
Fine.
Okay, well, I'll let her know then that we would really appreciate doing that ourselves. Okay, any other correspondence anyone else may have? Okay. Okay, next order of business, committee reports, code enforcement. Cindy?
Okay, I'd like to start off before I forget by letting everyone know that I'm going to be on vacation starting tomorrow, and I'll be gone all of next week. So you won't be able to get in touch with me. Dana is planning on being in the office, my assistant, on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday mornings between 9 and 11. So there will be some coverage in the office next week. Probably not as, he won't be there as much as I usually am. And he'll be on duty Monday and Friday, so he won't be available those days at all. But everything in the office is pretty much caught up with any applications that I had in and those type of things. People who are starting construction, I've let them know that I would be away and they might have trouble getting an inspection, and I've talked to them about how to take care of that. So hopefully it won't cause anyone a major inconvenience, but I'm going to go on vacation with my family and try to enjoy myself for a week. I'm sorry I wasn't here last month. We had a kind of a family scare last month, and it was too difficult for me to make last month's meeting. Things were pretty quiet the first couple of months of March. The last couple of weeks I had a lot of phone calls. Everybody's starting to ask a lot of questions and try to figure out what they need to do to get a building permit. That's good. I'm glad when people call me with questions. Dana and I are happy to answer any questions about building permits. I'll do my best on questions about zoning and planning. I'm not an expert in either of those areas, but I do handle the paperwork of getting things over to the zoning and planning boards, and I try to help people in those areas. I'm going to be working with Kevin and Marie, hopefully to change a few of our forms and make them a little more useful for all of us, hopefully. And in March, I issued 8 permits, 1 for a home, 1 mobile home, 2 accessory buildings, 1 garage, 2 commercial, and 1 per tower. The total fees were $1,295.84. The good news in that was the commercial tower was for Mr. Knapp, who's going to be putting that up for alarm systems in the town of Volney. And the 2 commercial buildings were for Armstrong is putting up a storage building, and Reynolds is putting in a substation and a water pump house for their facility. Since they did get their services through Miller, and now that Miller's shut down, they have to get their own services. So it's a very expensive project for Reynolds. I hope that means that they plan on sticking around for a while in the town of Volney. They're making a big investment. So We did 10 construction inspections, 4 fire safety inspections, and 7 complaint follow-ups. I attended the planning session of the town board on Tuesday, and I have talked to the town board about this issue many times, and Dana has talked to me about it since he took office. He and I have composed a letter for the town board that I will read to you, and I've attached to that letter a proposed fee schedule. Dana and I can only issue permits according to the state laws. We don't have any jurisdiction to set up the fees or charge the fees. That's up to the town board to decide. And it's something that I've talked to you about many times. I haven't had a fee schedule for some items that have come before me that do require a permit. And for that reason, I'm presenting that to you tonight and asking you to take some action on it so I am certain of where you stand. The letter says, "Dear Town Board, the following is a formal list of building permit applications required by the State Uniform Fire Prevention and Building Code, and the fees which I recommend that the town adopt. This list was compiled by Cynthia Tolbert and Dana Smith. State fees and fees charged by other municipalities were considered when making these recommendations. Some items have been reduced, erroneous items removed, and other items added. If the town board chooses not to adopt this schedule, items on the list will still require permits as required by state law, but no fee will be charged for them. Since some permits were requested before this board convened, some fees may need to be refunded, such as the electrical permit for the Reynolds substation. It did not occur to this office that the town would choose not to charge a reasonable fee for required permits. From today forward, no fees for items not listed on the current fee schedule will be charged for permits issued." And I'd like to kind of go over this briefly with the old permit schedule in mind. Starts off with permits for 1 and 2 family homes. There's no change to that. Manufactured homes, no change to that. Multiple dwellings, no change. Industrial, commercial, no change. Farm buildings, no change. Additions to these, there will be no change. Accessory buildings such as garages or other accessory buildings not attached to homes, no change in those. Wood stoves, the old fee schedule lists a satellite dish. I removed that from the fee schedule. A building permit's not required for a satellite dish, and unless the town would like to continue to charge a fee for a satellite dish, I see no reason to do so. Septic system, $20, that's what that was before. I decreased the fee on a swimming pool permit from $30 to $20. I believe the items like the wood stove, septic system, swimming pool pretty much require one inspection by my office, and I believe that $20 for each of them is reasonable. One inspection usually isn't costing the town very much money to perform. Deck was left as it was. An application for a certificate of occupancy was removed, and in its place, a change of occupancy was put there because it's a more accurate description. You can't apply for a certificate of occupancy. You get one when you finish a building permit. You can apply for a change of occupancy. It's most often a commercial change. We had this instance with the car lot that was changed to a church. That would be a change of occupancy, and it would require a building permit. But you can't actually apply to get a certificate of occupancy on a building that's already been built. There should be a fee for, there should be a permit at least for demolitions. I've listed both those. Commercial towers, we did vote on, I believe we did vote on that at a meeting earlier. It hasn't been added to this schedule, so I put it on this one. And the second page includes the items that have basically been the bone of contention: repair, replacement, and alteration requiring a permit. Permits are required in some cases for repairs, replacement, and alterations. It's rather complicated. I have to look at it carefully when someone asks me, but they are required. If someone comes to me in good faith and asks for a permit, I will issue that permit. These are the fees that I recommend be charged. If the town chooses not to charge a fee, so be it. And I also included on here the site plan and subdivision fees because they were included in the fee schedule for zoning and planning. So, Dana and I would respectfully request that you address this issue this evening, come to some kind of a conclusion, and just let us know. As of right now, as we stated in the letter, we will issue permits as required by law. If they are not listed on the fee schedule, I will no longer charge any fee. I will charge nothing. And otherwise, I'll just charge what's on the fee schedule for the ones that are there. So that is my report for tonight.
Thank you, Cindy. Assessors, I probably should have read this reminder on grievance day, and I'll read it again. Grievance day is May 23rd. Forms are available in the town clerk's office. Is there anything else on assessing we need to mention tonight that's going on?
I don't think so.
No? Okay. They're in the process of getting all the tentative roll filed, I believe. Planning board, I guess Kevin's not here. Did you have a report for him, Bill?
Regular monthly meeting, 4/5/95, the Town of Volney Planning Board held its monthly meeting for April on Wednesday, April 5th at 7 p.m. In attendance were Gary Standard, Gary Richardson, and Shirley Vinch. Excused were Kevin Conley due to work and Thelma Tomino due to illness. Under old business, Penny Easton requested that the planning board reconsider its recommendation to deny the request by Penny to have the property located on the corner of State Route 41 and 45 rezoned from residential to commercial business. She spoke at length explaining why she felt the original decision by the planning board and the town board were incorrect. She discussed at length such areas as traffic flow and impact on the neighborhood. At that time, the board did not take any action. The board will consider at the May meeting whether or not to reconsider the previous decision and how to handle the application if a decision to reconsider is made. The board will review information presented to see if new or additional information answering the board's original concerns have been presented. Under new businesses, the board reviewed a request by Nick Tomino for approval of a single split for property he owns on Kingdom Road. The split would be a 2-acre split taken from the original lot of approximately 76 acres. The purpose of the split would be to sell the lot for future residential development. After review of the request, the board approved the subdivision request 3-0. The board closed the meeting at approximately 8:45 p.m. The next meeting of the planning board will be on Wednesday, May 3rd at 7 p.m. at the Volney Town Hall. Report prepared by Kevin Conley, Chairman.
Thank you, Bill. Zoning board, Marie?
Meeting last night, we had a public hearing from Mr. Mark Giovanetti. He is the owner of Babcock Oil. He submitted an application for an area variance and a use variance for the purpose of constructing a pole barn adjacent to his building. And the neighbors that were at the attendance of the meeting last night were pretty supportive of what he wanted to do. They had some concerns, and hopefully the zoning board was instrumental in addressing those concerns, because right now he is storing the trucks outside where he will be building the garage. And he felt that it would improve the aesthetics of the neighborhood because the trucks would be now inside the building, and there also would be a drainage collection inside the building to collect any fuel runoff or gas from the trucks, but he wasn't planning on storing any gas or fuel, and that was one of the concerns of the neighbors. So as it stands right now, the county wrote a letter to me, and they want us to complete the secret form, and because it is in an agricultural district, there was an agricultural district form that we had to complete, and it's not an agricultural zone. There's a difference in agricultural district, and these things have to be addressed. So we had filled out the paperwork, and it was also brought to my attention that we should probably notify the city of Fulton because it's in 500 feet within the city of Fulton. And so we will continue with that hearing next month if anybody is concerned. The other thing that came before the board was the application from Ronnie Chris Austin. There were some problems with the fee being paid. As I reported on before, the fee has now been paid, and Mr. and Mrs. Austin appeared before us tonight, and we have scheduled a hearing for next month. The other issue that I would just like to bring to the board's attention, there was a vote last night that the minutes of the meetings, will be mailed to each member. They just felt that they wanted the minutes 10 days after the meeting, and they would like the minutes mailed to them. The vote, I just want to emphasize, was 4-1. I personally don't feel that I need to have the minutes mailed to me. I come into the town hall, quite often we have an office here, I can pick up my minutes. They just felt that that was an expense that the town should incur, so they don't have to waste time coming in here to pick them up. So just for your attention, what they suggested is that the minutes be delivered to the town clerk 10 days after the meeting and requested that Barb would mail them to them. And I said that would be up to the board. You can make your decision how you want to handle that. And so our next meeting is scheduled for May 10th. And there will be the Giovanetti hearing at 7 o'clock. And then after that hearing, we will continue with the Austin hearing.
Thank you, Marie. Recreation, I don't see Sue here tonight, but I saw a flyer out on the table, so I'll read to you what she has scheduled for the, oh, you have a report? Oh, okay. You want to read it, please? Thanks.
20 children were present to decorate their Easter eggs last Saturday. Thank you to the parents who stayed to help out. A special thank you to Christine, Lester, and Leslie Price for staying to help clean up afterwards. Upcoming events, this Tuesday, April 18th, we will be taking a trip to the Museum of Science and Technology and Planetarium. The bus will leave at 9 a.m. and return around 12:45. Please sign up at the town hall before Tuesday. May 13th, we will be doing some projects for Mother's Day at the town hall. Susan Roy, Rec Director.
Thank you, Lisa. Dog control, Bill, you said you had something from Jerry?
Dog Control Office monthly report, month of March. 81 total number of calls received, 6 total number of dogs adopted, 1 total number of dogs redeemed, 1 total number of dogs euthanized, 9 total number of dogs housed at the kennel this month, 1 total number of dogs at the kennel this meeting date, 4 total number of lost dogs, 4 total number of dog bites. Jerry replaced the old table with a new desk, and he put up a bulletin board. He had an old one at home that he donated. And the repairs at the kennel, he has to do with spring cleaning, and the yard work has to be completed. Jerry Howland, the dog control.
Thank you. Okay, historian.
Yeah, she left her.
Oh, she got something. Okay, Lisa, would you like to read the historian report?
I have started a collection of election memorabilia and would appreciate any contribution for this collection. There is a listing of past officials in the town of Volney that I have not completed at this time. Before this year is over, I plan to have this completed. Our genealogy file is growing all the time and will be of great help to anyone who needs information. I have 2 books ordered for the office that were first published in the 1800s. Each are well done. This will place a lot of information at our disposal. Being in the office most of the day on Tuesday has helped in residents meeting with me. They bring information to me and find more in our files. If at any time Tuesday is not a good time for someone needing information, I will gladly find a time that is compatible for both of us. Respectfully, Fern Parsons, Historian.
Thank you, Lisa. Highway, Bob, did you want to give a report, or she has one over there? Okay. Lisa, again?
3 days plowing and sanding, 18 days maintenance of equipment, 3 days signs, 1 day driveways, 11 days patching and road maintenance, 2 days cleaning beaver dams. Wages for March 1995, $21,018.38. Repair bills and material costs, $18,098.46. Totaled $39,116.84. Barbara Kerfing.
Thank you. Okay, next order of business is old business. I don't see resolutions on here. Is that usually before old and new business, or is that after? Is it usually before old and new business?
Yeah.
Okay, well then we'll move on to our resolutions then. Okay, first resolution 95-69, Crosby Hill Junkyard Renewal. Move to renew the junkyard license for Crosby Hill Recycling for the year 1995. I'll move it.
Second.
Discussion, comments from the board?
The only comment I got is, I think according to our zoning and the information that was passed out that they kind of misunderstood was their renewal has to be in like 30 days prior to expiration date, and she says she understands it now and it will
Okay,
be taken care of next year.
okay, good. Yeah, this came before us a few weeks back, and we held off on it because of that. Any questions or comments from the public? Okay. Barb, will you poll, or Barb, I'm sorry, Lisa, will you poll the council? I knew that was going to happen tonight.
Counselor Pierce?
Aye.
Counselor Ridgway?
Aye.
Counselor Smart?
Aye.
Counselor Warner?
Aye.
Supervisor Rose?
Aye. Next, resolution 95-70, vote to accept bid for hydraulic excavator. Move to accept the bid for hydraulic excavator from. Okay, we haven't put that in there yet, and I don't know what the board's pleasure is on that.
Just has it, I think he
No,
is.
sure.
Okay, right here.
Oh, so just a bunch of green, I believe on this. There's the-
Okay, I see them both here, which,
All right, we had two bids, and our specs asked them to bid a Great All XL 4100 or a Badger 888, and Great All submitted a bid from LB Smith, $199,000, less trade-in of $15,000, come to $184,000. And Tracy gave us a quote on a Badger, but it was a smaller one than what the specs asked for. They quoted a 667 instead of the 888, or a 670 instead of the 888, for $191,878 with a $10,000 trade-in, come to $181,878. But it does not meet the specs in several ways, and I feel something that they wanted to be included was an in-cab electronic system. Bob wanted it included on a Great All. It's standard and it's not available on the Badger, but the horsepower on the motor, he spec'd a 46 horsepower motor, Badger's a 44, Great All's a 53, and he asked for roughly a delivery day of 60 days, and Badger wants 120 to 150 days, and Great All said they can do it in 60. But there's several things that does not meet the specs with Badger, and Great All is either as good or above what was spec'd. So if we're recommending this, we gotta keep this all together, so I'll make the motion that from LB Smith Incorporated, we accept the bid for $184,000, which is roughly $2,100 higher than Badger, but a bigger machine.
I'll second.
okay. Any other discussion from the board? I have a couple questions for Bob. You approve of this, Bob, this particular bid? Mhm. We do have the funds available to pay for this. Is it in your account? Is that how we're going to?
Well, this,
We're going to have to bond for some of this. How much are we going to have to bond for?
well, we're gonna have to, once we make the motion, we're gonna have to sit down and look what's been set aside, and we got 60 days, if this is accepted, to come up with how much we're gonna put towards it, and how much we got to bond for, and how many years we wanna go for.
Don't you think we should know that before we vote on it, though? I mean, I'm not comfortable voting on it tonight, not knowing what we're going to be bonding for or anything, because then once we vote on this, it's approved, and we're going to have to do it.
But our problem is, Howard, if we don't vote on it tonight, and we put it off for another month, Bob needs the equipment, he needs it to do his road work with, this will put us off that particular amount of time. We know that we're going to have to buy the equipment, we know we're going to have to bond for some of it. I don't know that any time we've ever purchased highway equipment like this before, to my recollection, I think this is the way that we've done it in the past. Is that correct, Jess? Basically, I don't ever remember having an exact place where we had money. We have some money set aside, we'll have to bond for a certain amount. That's what we've done.
We have money in his equipment fund, We have money in this year's budget for his equipment fund. Now the decision is, if we accept this, then we can sit down and talk with Bob if he wants to use all the money that he's got in his equipment fund with, including this year's, and then we'll know how much, or does he want to keep some aside for something else next year or the year after? I think there's, well, I'm gonna say 80,000, but I think there's more than that in his equipment fund, plus what we put there in the budget this year's, was it 30,000, Bob?
30 in there, but I'd like to keep that because we have an emergency. We wouldn't have nothing to buy.
That's right. So it's roughly, we got 89,
90,
Yes.
90 in there.
well, I was gonna say 80-some thousand in there now.
So we're looking at about a $100,000 bond approximately then.
Right.
And you can discuss, you know, that's where we sit down and discuss whether we want it for 3 years or 5 years or whatever.
Didn't we just pay a piece of equipment off, a truck or something,
Yeah,
just this year?
so that would basically in next year's budget take the place of that payment.
I'm doing next year.
Right, I realize that, yeah. What have you been doing for this type of equipment up till now? Have you got something that you use, or?
We're using good money, put on bad money, keep the one we got going.
We've had some,
Keeps getting worse.
a little, quite a, I'm gonna say, quite a bit of money we had to put in there so we could use it.
If I remember in the bids, they're only giving you, what, like 5,000 for it or something?
15
Oh,
or
16,000, okay.
Yeah, it says 15,000, so there,
Well, not to hold anything up, I could probably support it tonight for those reasons, to get it rolling for you, but I think we could still probably not vote the bond and do this later on if we decide for some reason that it isn't, you know, within the best interest of our budget and other restraints right now, so. Is it?
Clarify what you just said, Howard, because I'm not sure what we just did.
We didn't do anything yet. I'm just
I know,
saying,
but-
I'm just saying that would be willing to support this tonight, just so we don't hold Bob up on this piece of equipment. Because you're telling me that there's some time restraints here and he's gotta get moving and get something for the summer. At the same time, I'm saying that approval tonight doesn't mean that we're actually gonna get it, because we still have to vote to bond it. If we don't vote to bond it,
No, this means you're accepting the
This means
bid.
you're accepting the bid. Once we accept the bid, Bob's gonna tell them, or Barb's gonna tell them to the lawyer, right? Town clerk, that's what I said, Barb, I got town clerk, that's it.
yeah, then we have to decide how much money we're gonna use and how much we got a bond for.
This is the standard way we've done this before.
well, I didn't realize before tonight that we were looking at a $100,000 bond tonight, though, Jim. And this is, I wasn't thinking of that at all, and it wasn't presented to me, so that's why I'm hesitating a little bit here.
But it would be, there'd be no payments on the bond until next year, so that would be something that we would be considering when we did his budget in November.
Mhm.
And there's already a bond that has been paid off, so the amount of indebtedness of the highway department would stay about the same.
So the other thing, I'm gonna take a guess, Bob, roughly how much have you spent to keep that grade all working? $3,000? More than that,
This year?
this year?
This year you spent more than that? You remember what the bond was that we just paid off? I don't know what the amount was for? It was like 30,000, was it?
Well, the payment?
Yeah.
Payment was around 30.
The last payment was around 30,000.
Right, so we could get
I
a,
believe 26,000 to be exact, plus interest.
Okay, we don't have any other debts right now, bonds?
I would.
Okay. Okay. Any questions or discussion from the public on this issue? Thelma?
Coleman for me to Kingdom Road. Just wondering, all this discussion about bonding, we could bond for a piece of land that isn't gonna benefit all the residents, but something that's gonna benefit the highway, you gotta sit there and discuss back and forth as to whether you can bond for it or not. I think it's kinda sad.
The other thing is sad that, I think the property is gonna benefit everybody, and the choice was, do we take the chance and get the property, or possibly do we let the city of Fulton or some other municipality take it off our tax rolls? We've already had 200 acres taken off our tax rolls by the city up there.
But, can I make a comment?
Sure.
I received a phone call from the mayor of Fulton that told me that that property, if they had even been interested in it, wouldn't have taken it off the tax rolls, they still would have paid taxes. Second of all, they were contacted before the town of Volney to purchase that property. They did a geographical study on it, and they were not interested in it. They had no interest in buying that property.
They were interested only for water, Thelma, and I do realize that they would be paying tax on it. We weren't concerned so much about the city of Fulton, we were concerned about the county of Oswego, which if they had purchased it, they would have made it tax exempt, for sure.
I just made a comment, Howard, that's all.
That's fine, I made one back. Okay. Any other questions or discussion on this issue? Charlie?
I think it's obvious that the equipment is needed to maintain roads. They're retired, another bond is retired. The amount of indebtedness should remain approximately the same. It won't have any impact to speak of at all on taxes, and it's a much needed piece of equipment for the highway.
Anyone else? Okay, Lisa, will you poll the council, please? Jim seconded.
Counselor Pierce.
Aye.
Counselor Ridgway.
Aye.
Counselor Smart.
Aye.
Counselor Warner.
Aye.
Supervisor Rose.
Aye. Resolution 95-71, agreement to spend highway funds. Whereas the amount of $293,569 was budgeted under highway appropriations account DA 5110.1 and 5110.4 titled General Repairs, and agreement to spend highway funds between the town of Volney and the county of Oswego must be entered into, therefore, move that pursuant to the provisions of section 284 of highway law, monies levied and collected for the repair and improvements of highways in the amount of $293,569 may be expended for general repairs upon 62.66 miles of town highways, including sluices, culverts, and bridges having a span of less than 5 feet, and boardwalks or the renewals thereof. There's some things missing on this. We should have had the whole sheet describing the roads. Should have been part of the resolution. So I'm going to enter this into the minutes as part of this resolution. Okay, this is a document that Bob filled out for us. And I'll read the repairs that he has in mind here. Improvements, Silk Road between State Route 3 and leading to County Route 45, a distance of 3.5 miles. There should be expended not over the sum of $90,000. Type hot mix overlay, width of traveled surface 24 feet, thickness 2 inches. Also, he has on here Baldwin Road between Hawk and leading to Silk Road, a distance of 2.5 miles. There shall be expended not over the sum of $60,000. Type hot mix overlay, width of travel surface 22 feet, thickness 2 to 3 inches. Also, Shortcut Road between County Route 45 and leading to County Route 176, a distance of 1 mile. There shall be expended not over the sum of $45,000. Type hot mix overlay, width of surface traveled 22 feet, thickness 2 to 3 feet, or 2 to 3 inches, I'm sorry. And then down at the bottom here, no money set aside for such improvements shall be expended, nor shall any work be undertaken on such improvements until the county superintendent approves the plan. That's no longer in effect, I believe. Is that correct, Bob? Okay, because they sent me some new forms. You've got an old one here that you filled out, so what we'll do, pardon me? Okay, well, what I'll do, I just got it here a week or so ago, and I should have probably forwarded it to you, and I didn't get it over to you. I'm sorry for that. But what I'll do, I'll have the council sign the one that they sent me, and we'll put this new information on it, and then you'll have to sign it again, okay? Also at the bottom, it says $98,569 for general repairs. I assume, Bob, that means just general repairing the road surfaces in the town of Volney wherever they may need attention. Okay. I have one question, and this is something I know I've asked you before, and I'm concerned a little bit about it. Last year, we asked about getting some blacktop over on the basketball court at the park. We've been trying to get that finished up over there, and I know you didn't get a chance to get to it, but I'm concerned because I know we blacktopped the area right out here in front of the old highway garage, and we made a nice little playground for all the snow blades that we have sitting over there. And I'd like to see if you have any extra this year, please consider doing something in that park. I know that blacktop out there must have come out of your budget for this last year, unless it was a gift from somebody. You know, and if we're going to sign this, I want to see it used for what it's supposed to be used for.
The area that he wanted blacktop was not ready, and it still isn't ready.
Well, but we could have taken care of that ourselves if we wanted to, you know, because obviously you had to grade that and do work there before you blacked out that. Well, In any case, I would have rather seen a little basketball area for the kids instead of a place to set snowplow blades. But nevertheless, before I sign this, I want to be assured that the monies will be used for this specifically unless the board approves anything other. And that means anything work done around the town hall here or the park or anything else. I want this town board to have a say in what else gets done with that money for the blacktop. Okay? Does the board have a problem with that? Because
No, it's just under that general repairs where that 98,000 is. I think that also includes any sluices or culverts or bridges that he may have to replace also. That comes out of.
right, oh, I realize that. I'm just saying if there's anything extra over and above what you do on the roads, and we got something to play with, I'd like to see some of it go into that park, and also get permission from the board to do anything over and above the roadways, because all this does is spell out the roadways, nothing else.
No, I'm just, saying that it's not just all blacktop or tar and stone for
Right.
roads. It's whatever is needed on the highway.
Right. Okay. Any questions or, did we get a second on that yet?
I'll second it.
Or did we move it yet? I don't think it's been moved yet, has it?
I'll move it then.
Okay, Jesse moves it. Someone want to second
I
it?
thought you did, but I
Okay.
will.
Discussion, any other discussion from the board? Questions or comments from the public? Okay, Alan.
I live right near Short. What are they gonna do, repave that?
Is that your intention about putting new surface over that?
Instead of just tar and stone? What's that cost? A mile?
Yeah, it's a mile, and it's gonna cost about $45,000.
Well, that's the equipment and everything.
Yeah, look,
That's all the equipment, the use of the equipment and everything to do it.
Labor.
The labor, that's not just blacktop.
Well,
That-
I
you know,
just
that's-
wondered what it costs exactly to be a mile.
Well, you can
45.
figure $45,000-$50,000 a mile.
Because I just was curious, because before they were just tarring and stoning it. If they're gonna resurface it, fine with me, I use that road a lot.
okay.
You gonna widen it?
Any other questions or comments? Okay, Lisa, will you poll the council?
Counselor Pierce?
Aye.
Counselor Ridgway?
Aye.
Counselor Smart?
Aye.
Counselor Warner?
Aye.
Supervisor Rose?
Aye. Resolution 95-72, Fireman's Contract. Move that the contract dated April 13th, 1995, contract on file between the Town Board of the Town of Volney and the Volney Volunteer Fire Corporation to provide fire protection service to the Town of Volney Fire Protection District from January 1, 1995, and to end on December 31st, 1995, for the sum of $185,000, be approved and executed on this date. I'll move it.
Second.
Any discussion or comments from the board?
You have the forms here?
Yeah, I have them here, and I'd like you to sign them before, yeah, why don't we do that right now? Well, we haven't voted on it, yeah, let's vote on it. Questions or comments from the public first? Okay, Lisa, will you poll the council?
Counselor Pierce?
Aye.
Counselor Ridgway?
Aye.
Counselor Smart?
Aye.
Counselor Warner?
Aye.
Supervisor Rose?
Aye. Now, you're gonna notice they only put 3 spaces on here, I guess they didn't know we had 5 members, so I'll sign at the top, and then we'll just follow down below here. I'm gonna pass in the other direction, the highway agreement, and we'll get that signed as well. Yeah, well, what we're gonna, I want you to fill out and sign your name, and then we'll make a copy for everyone, okay? Oh, blank copies? They sent me a couple of them, so you can have one of these other ones. I only got 2. You're signing a blank form, but it's gonna be filled in the way I read it.
Oh, that's good.
No, that's the only one they gave me, so we're gonna have to make copies for ourselves and send that one back. Usually they give us two, don't they?
Be on file with the town clerk.
Right, well, I was gonna make copies of this, but we probably should have, yeah, okay. Thank you. Okay. Old business. Cindy brought up something tonight that's really old business, because we've talked about it off and on for quite a while, and I don't know what the board's pleasure is on this, but I think we should do something to give her some guidance here as far as a fee goes.
Howard, I thought we said that we were going to do this at our zoning update meeting. Isn't that what we kinda
Yeah, that's what I
implied
thought.
on
Well-
Thursday? That we were gonna bring it in?
We've got a fee schedule, it's just.
Well, yeah, right, and she showed us what we have, but there's some things we don't have, and she'd like to have something to go to people, because people aren't gonna wait till we have our zoning update meeting.
No, well, if there isn't a fee for it, they just don't have to pay anything.
That's fine, like
What?
we've always done.
Right, but what Cindy is saying, we should have a fee. you know?
Well, I don't wanna just go on one person's recommendation, I'd rather we look at it as a board at the zoning update meeting.
So would I.
Okay, so you'd rather she continue the way she has been?
Yes.
until-
Absolutely.
Yes.
Okay. See, that's not listed here, I don't, no, it's not. What is the date for that,
May
so I can put it
16th
on
at
this?
7 p.m.
Pardon me?
May 16th at 7 p.m.
May 16th? Okay. I'm just putting it at the bottom so I can announce it at the end of the meeting here. 7 p.m., Bill?
Yes.
Okay.
And Howard, there's another error on the future meeting. I believe the agenda preparation is going to be the 9th. We talked about doing a date on Monday, and then we changed the date to the 9th, I think.
Yeah, we did. We did.
Because we talked
Well,
about
did
the-
Barb type these up, or did you do it, Lisa? Okay. And Barb must have not got the
She
message.
didn't get, she did it, okay, so it is the 9th, am I right?
That's what we agreed to. That's the same day as that meeting up in Thousand Islands
Right,
Association
so-
Towns meeting.
But there were conflicts on the 9th. I think.
Right,
Yeah.
there were conflicts on the other days.
And the date is going to be questionable because it depends on when everybody gets back. So it'll be sometime that evening when everyone returns from the meeting.
So the bills will be ready in case we came up.
Oh, yeah, the bills will be ready,
Just
right.
come in and sign them if people aren't there.
Correct.
Yeah, I think that's where Monday came in, if people wanted to come
Right.
over on Monday during the day, they could get that part done.
Mhm.
You'd
Okay.
be able to have yours ready, Bob, on that Monday, if people come up to sign them? Huh?
Because
is
there's a
Monday-
good chance we'll be late getting back from that conference.
Okay. On the motion to hold off on this fee schedule, is everyone in agreement with that? Jess, Bill, you want to wait until the zoning update also?
I got no problem with it. If it's not in there, she doesn't charge for it, but there are some things that we should clarify for their benefit,
Mm-hmm.
so that they can do their job better.
Okay. New business. Does anyone on the board have any new business? Okay, moving right along. Petitions. Does anyone have any petitions tonight?
We had one in front of us.
Isn't there one on?
Yeah, where did this come from? Because this is the first I've seen it.
Dropped off today.
Who dropped it off?
She knows Barb, but I'm not sure who she is herself.
I'll read the petition. We, the people who live on or travel the Owens Road, do hereby request the Volney Town Board to contact Conrail for the purpose of representing us in our endeavor to get the railroad tracks fixed. As they are now, travel over them is treacherous and damaging to our vehicles. It makes our automobiles go out of alignment, wears out the springs and tires. Therefore, we are asking that the Volney Town Board do something to see that these tracks are repaired. I think this is an ongoing problem. I know this has come before the board before. And I know Conrail has been contacted, but I don't know, I wasn't in charge of it, so I don't know whatever transpired and what happened, but obviously it didn't get corrected. Does anyone on the board know anything about what happened in the past with this?
Bob would know, you know, I think.
Bob, do you know anything? They just keep passing the buck. Do we need to file a lawsuit to get something done, or what?
Whatever it takes.
Okay, well, I'm aware of the problem, and I think most of the board is aware of the problem, so we'll check with our, I'll give Conrail another opportunity to address this, and if they don't, then I'll contact our attorney about what we need to do. Marie?
Come here one night and say that they contacted the New York State Transportation of Conrail and something was getting done. I thought someone stood up at a meeting one night and read something.
A long time ago, if it was.
And I think the gentleman was, but he stood up and he said he contacted the New York State Transportation regarding this problem, and something was being done. He was waiting for a response, but I can't remember who the gentleman was, but I remember him standing up in a meeting reading that. And he was in contact with the New York State Transportation Board, who was in contact with Conrail. I think maybe it was Maple Ave. That must have been those railroad tracks. That's been Maple Ave, now that but I can't remember who the gentleman was that night.
Okay, well, we'll contact them, and I'll keep everyone posted as to the progress of that. I don't know who presented this petition, so I don't know who to respond to with it, but if we get results, they'll know it.
If we don't, we'll be back.
Yeah, they'll be back. Okay, any other petitions? Okay, moving right along to public comment. I'll open the floor now for public comment. No public. Thelma.
I'm giving you a letter tonight, which I would like to read aloud so that the residents of the town of Volney have full access to this information and so no facts are hidden from the public. I would ask that I be allowed to finish the entire letter without interruption so that I may relay this information to the public without being cut off midway, infringing upon my First Amendment rights under the Constitution and my right to due process as they have been before by this board, with the exception of two councilmen, Bill Pierce and Jim Ridgway. Dear sirs and madam, I am writing concerning our building code enforcement officer. As a licensed realtor, I work with many code enforcement officers in the county of Oswego in all types of transactions. I know of no other building inspectors who do not take phone calls at their home. I also know of no other inspector who only works 4 hours a week with full-time pay. While this may sound sarcastic, it is not meant to be so. It is a fact that in no other city, village, nor town in this county, nor Cayuga County, who works as our code enforcement officer does. While I am a member of the planning board, the application I made for a building permit and any conversation I had with Mrs. Tolbert was not as a planning board member. I am a resident and taxpayer in Volney, and I am very tired of being treated in such a rude manner by someone who is paid with my tax dollars. As a realtor, I've heard many complaints about Mrs. Tolbert and her attitude and the way she conducts business. Many developers are shying away from our town because of the problems they have with Mrs. Tolbert. They will not complain to you because they know that if they do, they will encounter more problems with her. I currently own 76 acres on Kingdom Road with 436 feet of frontage. According to the new bulk and density schedule, the minimum lot size is 2 acres with 150 feet of frontage. On April 4th, I applied for a building permit on the lower lot of my property, which is an existing mobile home site that has been there for years. Along with the permit application, I enclosed a letter explaining to Mrs. Tolbert that I would be going before the planning board on April 5th for subdivision approval. On April 10th, my contractor stopped to pay for another building permit for a property located on County Route 45 and asked Mrs. Tolbert if my permit was ready, at which time she told him that she could not issue the permit due to a resolution not being passed by the planning board for subdivision approval. I immediately called the town hall and was told Mrs. Tolbert had already gone home. I phoned Mrs. Tolbert at home, apologizing for having to do so, and was told by Mrs. Tolbert that no permit would be issued until subdivision was approved. A resolution had been passed for approval by the planning board the evening of the 5th of April. However, Mrs. Tolbert seemed to be under another impression. So I tried to explain to her that even if subdivision was not granted, she had no legal right not to issue me a building permit, and that she must issue me a permit as the site was an existing one, and that since I am in an agricultural zone, I am allowed 2 residential dwellings so long as I can meet the setback requirements. She insisted I was wrong and hung up on me. In Mrs. Tolbert's letter to me dated April 11th, Mrs. Tolbert refers to a phone call to the Association of Towns and a Lori Miffin. I spoke with Lori Miffin on April 11th to clarify what Mrs. Tolbert had relayed to her, and Mrs. Tolbert seems to think that I am stupid enough to believe that just because I rented the site, it was a subdivided lot. I would hope that no one here believes that I am stupid enough to believe such a thing, and if I did, I don't think I should be sitting on the planning board. While I tried to relay that to Mrs. Tolbert is that it is an existing lot as a site, and she had no right to deny me the building permit just because the subdivision was not in her possession. The next day, I called her at the town hall asking for my permit, and she responded she would not issue it and hung up on me again while she was in the town hall. As I am writing this letter, it is now April 12th, and I have finally received my building permit. However, not without another nasty letter from Mrs. Tolbert. As a resident of this town, I feel that you, as a board, should look very closely at Mrs. Tolbert's actions and her apparent incompetency to do the job she was appointed by you to do. I seriously have to question your judgment in her appointment, and I would suggest more training, possibly to include a session on etiquette and dealing with the public. I have brought this to your attention before, and once again, Mrs. Tolbert seems to think she is professional, and that I am not. Well, professionals don't hang up on people, no matter who they are. Sincerely, Thelma A. Toromina.
Okay, I'm not going to comment on this tonight, only to say one thing, that Cindy certainly works way more than 4 hours a week, and she does not receive a full-time salary. That's the only comment I have. I don't know if the board wants to make any comments of their own, but that's the only comment I have. Any other public comment tonight? Alan?
I would like to comment that your beginning statement about not being interrupted while you're making a comment should be listened to by some people who are married to you, including your husband. When I got up here last time to make public comments, he's making kissy sounds, and I didn't appreciate that one bit. I take your admonition about it, but I wish that you and your husband would give other people who make comments the same courtesy that you expect.
I'll direct this to the town board.
So if you want to speak again, I'll call on you. Yes, sir.
Ron Austin. Cindy has given me nothing but headache, nothing but trouble, no matter what I try to do, all the time, right? That's just, I got 3 things going, she cuts me down on everything I try to do. And I'm trying to get a restaurant in, right? She comes and tells me what I can have in the restaurant, what I can sell, what I can't sell. Is that her job?
If it's within the state codes, it is her job, yes. She has to enforce the New York State codes, and that's what she's doing. If you could specifically put down what she said, and if you want us to look at it and check the code, we'd be happy to do that. I mean, I can't comment not knowing the code myself.
She come to where I'm gonna have the restaurant. We're sitting there talking, she's saying this, that, cutting me off. I said, look, there's people down the road, I says, they're doing stuff, they're putting a business in, remodeling, they're doing this and that. And I says, don't they need a building permit? Oh, no, that ain't got nothing to do with me. So what are you talking about? Shouldn't she look into that and see if they need a building permit? They need a building.
I don't know if she has. You know, I can't. She's not here to defend herself, so obviously I can't.
She was here a minute
Well,
ago.
she had to leave apparently. I don't know, but
I see, she always does that. Makes us look like bad people, and she always tries to make herself look good. Cuts us all down, all the time. You know, you just get sick of it after a while.
if you could put that in writing as to how she cuts you down, and we'd certainly respond to it.
I got a list of my own lawn.
Well, I need a list like that because I can't go to her with just, you know. What?
Go get her. Let's talk
I don't know where
face
she
to face.
went. Yes, ma'am.
As far as what he just commented on, I gotta agree with Thelma also as far as Cindy is concerned. I mean, my electrical inspector doesn't appreciate her trying to tell him how to do his job. I mean, he's licensed into that, and that's what I pay him for. So, that's all I have to say.
Okay, well, again, I can't comment because I don't know all the details from both sides, but I appreciate your comments. Anyone else?
That's the part
No, that's not.
No, I said if you'd like to put it in writing, we would respond to it. We would discuss it with Cindy. You know,
Something with it because she's trying to play God with everybody's life, all the
Well-
time. That's what she does.
we understand she's trying to play guy with everyone's life, Jim?
No, I put two trailers in. She says, I gotta get an engineer to come in and inspect them, make sure they're livable, this and that. I do that. And she says, oh, you gotta do this, oh, you gotta do that. She keeps coming up with different stuff.
I understand your concern, but if you don't document it, we can't act on it. If you put it in writing and specify the various different complaints that you have, point by point, rather than in generalities, we can act. But if you document so that we can do that.
You got all night?
Well,
Call
no,
it with me.
Document it, and we'll spend the time talking with her. We need to do this executive session once we have a list of complaints.
Yes, Penny.
Penny East on Oswego. I would just like to make a comment. I'd like to remind the town board or any other town officials that are going to watch this tape that the town has elected you as officials to govern the town, not to be politicians, and personal agendas should not be coming in on your decisions. That's all I would like to say.
Okay, I don't think anyone of us up here feel that's the case, but you're entitled to your opinion on it. Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, if I...
Make a comment I wanted to make before?
Sure. You just need to raise your hand again, Thomas.
Well, I'm going to address you, but I would like to say to you, to Mr. Kessler, that I was referring to the town board and the infringement upon my rights, not any other individual in this town.
Could you clarify that? Because I don't know where we infringed on your rights.
Well, you infringed upon my rights pretty bad last August, September, October, and November, Howard. And I took you to court, and the court dismissed it because you did not follow due process.
No, the court did not dismiss it. The court sent it back to us to decide whether we wanted to go further with it. It's a big difference between dismissing.
They turned it back because you did not follow the proper
Procedure, that's correct, and they gave us another opportunity to follow it.
Procedure, Howard, number one. The second thing that I'd like to say, which now you've made me forget, but, oh, no, I want you to comment on my letter regarding Mrs. Tolbert and her actions regarding my property, and don't tell me you're not aware of it, because I know she was here Tuesday night, and I know town officials explained to her, finally got it through to her, that I am allowed 2 residential dwellings on one site in an agricultural
I
zone.
do not know that. I have not discussed it with her that way. I called her that you called me, that's all I, told her, and then she explained to me her side of it initially, but what's transpired since then, I have not discussed it with her. And this is obviously a personal problem more than anything, Thelma. And
Excuse me, Howard, no it isn't. It's not
Well-
personal when a resident comes for a building permit who is entitled to one, and the code enforcement officer doesn't know her job well enough to issue one. Either she better learn the town and the codes and enforce them correctly and fairly, or you better find another code enforcement officer that is competent.
that's your opinion, Thelma, and you're welcome to it.
His opinion, Howard. They won't come to you because the builders are having problems, and if they have problems with her, it slows down their progress, and they cannot make a profit at their living if Cindy Tolbert interferes with their business, which is what she will do if they try to retaliate and go to you. Now,
I don't
whether you
believe
like
that,
it or
Thelma.
not, it's true.
I don't believe that. She has to enforce the New York State Code. She cannot enforce something that doesn't exist.
Well, hey, she does it all the time.
She tries.
I'm sorry, she's talking, please.
She did it with me. She didn't have a right to deny me that permit, Howard.
I don't know that. I understand you talked to the Association of Towns and you talked to our attorney.
You bet I did.
Okay.
I also know the zoning codes. I am allowed 2 residences on an agricultural lot so far as I can meet the setback.
Okay,
Now, she
Cindy
has
is not
no
here to
right-
discuss it. I don't know enough about it, Thelma, so we have your letter. We will discuss it as a board. We will talk to Cindy if we feel it's necessary, and we'll take it from there. Same thing with Mr. Austin, I believe is his name. We'll do the same for you if you wish to submit a letter, okay?
More comment, Howard. Try to learn what it is, because I think you know exactly what I'm talking about, and you don't have the guts enough to sit there and admit.
I don't have to take that from you, Thelma.
Well, you don't have to
okay?
take anything, but I have the right to free speech.
Just so you'll know, Thelma, there is no right for anyone to speak at a public meeting like this in the town law. It's the choice of this board whether we want the people to speak, and obviously I would never deny the people that, but it is not a right, okay? Just so you know that.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
Any other public comment tonight? Yes, Donna?
On Route 45, I'm not a real estate agent, I just thought I'd say that. But we've had dealings with Cindy Tolbert, and in her defense, she's been very courteous to us. She just came and told us what she needed, and we supplied what she needed, and she came and inspected, and I just think that our dealings with her have been fine.
Okay. Any other public comment? Okay, future meetings, our bill signing and agenda preparation will be May 9th at a time that is yet undetermined because we will be attending a conference that day. And as soon as we return, which should be by 8 o'clock, I would guess, we will be having our bill signing. May 11th will be our next regularly scheduled town board meeting. May 16th, we'll be having a zoning update meeting at 7 p.m. here at the town hall. Jim?
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Lisa, we poll the council.
Counselor Pierce?
Aye.
Counselor Ridgway?
Aye.
Counselor Smart?
Aye.
Counselor Warner?
Aye.
Supervisor Rose?
Aye.